The universe as Captain America, at least in the movies, but now actor Chris Evans is turning his sights on helping to bridge the political divide. Our Kenneth Moten recently spoke with the star of Captain America about his new ambitious effort.
In the heat of an election year like no other, the political rancor at an all-time high.
Biden is a doddering fool.
Sir, what is the punishment for President Trump?
The man, the actor, the activist who says he's trying to cut through the noise, Chris Evans.
I was watching the news, and it began by there just being something I didn't fully understand.
It started with a political question 3 years ago. Evans, best known for playing Captain Steve Rogers, a.k.a. Captain America, on the big screen, curious about a real-life issue impacting Americans.
I went to Google it, and it was just so discouraging how tricky it was to try and navigate through the overwhelming avalanche of information, just to get succinct, basic understanding of issues. I figured there might be a use of a sort of mechanism that could demystify some of these issues and maybe create some engagement.
Good stuff, guys. Good stuff.
He went to work on a website to connect lawmakers with their constituents. Soon, he had a starting point. But the start, Evans admits, was a little rough.
One of them I filmed in my bedroom on my laptop.
Hi, I'm Chris Evans. If you're watching this video, it's because I'm hoping you'll be interested in being a part of a new media platform we're developing.
It was terrible. It was embarrassing. The very beginning of the idea itself, it turns out a lot of people thought it was a joke.
Evans taking his idea to the man who's now the site's co-founder, actor, director, and longtime friend Mark Casson.
So you get this idea from Chris. Did you think he was for real?
I mean, I've known Chris for over 10 years. I know he's for real. And I thought
Did you think I would have stuck with it had you not pushed me, Mark?
For sure, I knew it was going to take some cajoling and like holding up a mirror a few times and, well, remember this thing you said?
Mark just loved it and then didn't leave it alone. Mark kept saying, we got to do this. We got to do this. This is a great thing. And yeah, sorry, keep going. But
the two working with a team of developers, documenting every step of the process. Before the coronavirus pandemic, Evans and Casson went to Washington a lot.
We're going to have to get you a permanent office.
I don't know if I can handle that.
Shaking hands, taking meetings, trying to sway lawmakers on both sides of the aisle to take part.
when we would go to DC, and if we did have the good fortune of sitting down with a few elected officials, when we were done with the interview, we said, just listen, is there anyone else you can get us? Shamelessly, is there anyone else you can convince to come in and talk to us? And it just snowballed from there. Every time we returned to D.C., there were just more and more names on our list.
The celebrity, known for being vocal about politics, usually to his nearly 14 million Twitter followers.
Chris, you've been pretty critical of President Trump and Republicans, but I recently read you pull back on some of those comments in preparation for the launch of A Starting Point. Was that the case, and if so, why?
It wasn't that I pulled back on the comments. It's that, it's a matter of trying to measure efficacy, impact, you know what I mean? The reason I do what I do on Twitter isn't just because I'm screaming into the void because I'm angry. It's because I'm trying to help. I'm trying to move the ball. I'm trying to be a role model. I'm trying to change minds. The amount of arguments I've seen, political discussions, where everyone's pulling information from arbitrary places and we just go in circles. So the idea of trying to create a mechanism predicated on good information and engagement felt like it would have a far broader reach than anything I could do on Twitter.
On the self-funded bipartisan online platform, no like or dislike buttons, no comments. Just 3 sections, starting points, elected officials giving 2-minute answers to questions, daily points, and counterpoints, a discussion between 2 members from across the aisle.
How does the site have a greater impact on what's happening right now, especially when you think about it's an election year and when you think about how divided the nation is?
It all starts with participation from the elected officials and giving their opinions. Hopefully, eventually, this can be the kind of benchmark of connectivity of where you get information from elected officials, where they speak about the issues of the day, where they stand by their opinions, what they believe in, what they're willing to fight for.
A Starting Point, or ASP, has a growing list of elected officials across the country, including governors and mayors. So far, about 170 members of Congress now involved.
I was excited to join A Starting Point because it gives average Americans access to crisp and concise answers to current questions. I was thrilled that Captain America asked me to join, but frankly, I was more excited to have a vehicle for communicating with Americans of all backgrounds.
What I love about what Chris Evans and his team is doing, they're reminding us that we need to start by having a conversation.
Like most things in Washington, word spread. And there's one civic engagement nonprofit with deep roots in D.C., the Close-Up Foundation, responsible for bringing tens of thousands of middle and high schoolers to Washington each year.
The earlier you get started in that process, the more inclined you are to be active and engaged. So we want to start with that at a very early age. I think connecting young people and those voices to elected officials helps provide another platform to have young people heard. I also think that connecting people from those different backgrounds is really important.
Close-Up's Chief Development Officer Mia Charity teaming up with Evans. The foundation is now ASP's official education partner.
I think teachers and school districts are looking for interactive ways to engage students. We've transitioned a bit more to helping support them online, and the partnership with a starting point is really going to enhance those resources, bring more connectivity to what the conversations look like, connecting schools to schools across the country so that young people can understand that their voice is important.
This Close-Up Foundation, why is this education partnership so important?
Because they're better than us. Because
Yeah,
they've been
exactly.
doing
They know what they're doing far better than we do.
Their guidance has been paramount, and their mission is just, kind of a North Star for us. We looked at people who are actual experts, whether it be elected officials or someone like Close-Up, who is truly solely dedicated to civic engagement at a educational level.
As for Evans using that celebrity for good,
this seems very fitting for them, that you have the guy who's playing the character who says, I want you to be involved in standing up and saving our democracy and being involved in our democracy. This seems pretty fitting for you to be involved in something like this.
Yeah, I guess that worked out well, right?
What do you think?
I think it works.
Kenneth Moten, ABC News, New York.
Captain America on and perhaps off screen. Our thanks to Kenneth. We'll be right back.